famous people. And we've got some chores to do right now. Primarily moving just bringing the groceries in from the car. We just had a huge grocery shopping trip. So we got a couple of little chores to do here before we begin our real topic discussion, which includes Doomsday scenarios. But actually, right now, I'm kind of stuck in my head thinking about something totally unrelated to that. The end is nigh, says Emailed Anthrax. I mean, there are plenty of plausible scenarios by which we, attain doomsday before 2030, that's for sure. I'd say it's more plausible now than ever before. Trouble evaded us this morning. We were unable to catch him. He got outside and then we couldn't do anything about that. So we had to call them and tell them we couldn't catch him and he got away from us. He's okay. I don't know. He seems fine. He doesn't seem any worse. Maybe even a little bit better. So, I don't know. I said to Rachel, I guess we'll just keep an eye on him for a couple of days. And if it doesn't get better, I'll make an appointment for next week or something at the more local vet. I'm really concerned about the clutch giving out in the car right now, too. So, we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, I really want to listen to Rachel's ex-boyfriend's band. Rachel was telling me some stories about him, and was telling me specifically that he had written a song about it. So naturally I asked, well, how's his band, And she said, actually, that they were, quote, a good Long Island band. So I would say that's probably fairly high praise from Rachel, especially given she'd probably be inclined to undervalue them. For my benefit, like, she's not going to overestimate their value because obviously that's going to be a little bit, she's going to want to not make me feel not threatened as much as possible. So naturally, I'm curious to hear it. I feel kind of like annoyed by the fact that he found found me and Rachel quick, you know, like on YouTube. I engaged with him some years back, and obviously, you know, in that moment, like he had more history with her than I had, so it was non-ideal. But, you know, he came up quite a bit early in our relationship. Okay. All right, let me get a beverage. I'm dying of thirst here. All right, now I'll sit down here. Open this up. Get to the topics at hand. All right, let me pull this up on the screen so I can see it. And then we're gonna do a couple of things to assist Rachel here, which is to say, some of this food that we got is gonna go in like a storage container thing, so I want to separate out that food. Huh. I don't know why. Sometimes that thing's red and sometimes not. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. The end is nigh. Winter is coming.
It's from Game of Thrones.
Ah.
Like the Doomsday thing they say. They're like, winter is coming.
We're going to be surrounded by Catholic priests. Those Catholic priests will condemn our souls and then we'll die instantly. Hi, Lori G. Hi, Maudie. Can you send me a hug? I really need one right now. Here you go, Gordo. Well, I mean, the thing is, he's had a good amount of time to rest. That's why I eventually said we should take him to the vet. But you can't hear me at all? Or is that done now? I probably wasn't talking at that moment. Wouldn't it be better to avoid exes in relationships? Sure. I mean, absolutely. If you mean like talking to him and stuff, absolutely. Rachel's not talking to the guy or anything like that. She's just she was just telling me a story from her past in the car. So it made me curious about this band, you know.
About what?
About his band.
Oh, they're mediocre.
He said they were a good Long Island band.
I mean, for Long Island, a lot of people, like when I was 18, 19, like Long Island had like Taking Back Sunday and a bunch of bands from Long Island. They were.
Broccoli tosses, we have to discuss Trump. Yeah, okay. Did you stock up for Armageddon? I'm starting to stock up a bit. Yeah, I'm starting to stock up a bit. I figure I'll stock up. I'm not drinking. It's non-alcoholic beer. Well, you know what, Squiggles? You and I both have advisements for the other. I advise you to leave Islam and say, no more. I will not be Islamic any longer. I will not be subject to your lies any longer. That's what I think you should do. It's just my advice, my unsolicited advice to you. Right. Well, I get that well, Putty Cat, unfortunately, Trouble evaded our attempts to get him this morning into the cat carrier. He saw it. He was immediately very suspicious. I tried to even prevent him from going outside, right? I tried to go into the garage to prevent him from going out the other door. He got past me, got outside, and at that point, we just had to call him and say, we cannot get him. So we're not going to be able to make it down there in time for this appointment. So I decided after that happened that I'd observe a couple of days, see if his condition changes or anything. He doesn't seem to be he seems to be a little bit better off today than he was yesterday. Yeah, he's not nearly as sick as, say, Capilla was by the time that she got bit by something. She was really sick, and he's not that sick. Comparatively, he's fine, you know, but I was just worried because I expect him to get over that faster than that, you know? If I didn't retrieve this from the bathroom, Rachel would be looking for it shortly.
Thanks, I would be.
Okay, so there are, that's fine. When you're done putting things away, then I'll get some of these things out of here and start putting them in a box to put away. You know?
What stuff?
Like some of this canned stuff. I got a bunch of new cans of tuna, better tuna, but I figure we'll put this less good tuna in the storage thing. I got a jar of peanut butter for that purpose. Was that peanut butter from the fridge you're throwing away?
It was up here. I'm trying to fit more.
If it's open, throw it away, yeah. Right? Why would it be open and not in the fridge?
Because peanut butter just needs to be refrigerated.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
You think it's still good? Does it have a date on it anymore?
Yes, it does. No, it's not good anymore.
Okay.
And these aren't good anymore either.
Okay, well, you're welcome to share your wife with whomever you wish, but I'm not sharing my wife with anybody. Show us your elbows, sir. Hinduism is the only religion which allows you to not be straight. to keep out of the fridge, I thought, fuck, am I going to die? I don't understand what that means. So, I advise everyone to be a mixture of Hindu, Buddhist, and atheist. That's one of the lines you can't cross. What's one of the lines you can't cross? Who would win in a fight, Joseph Smith or Muhammad? I don't know. What's Yellowstone erupting? Oh, that. I see what you're saying. All right, so one possible doomsday scenario is the mega volcano one. I would say that's low on the list of likelihoods. If let's imagine a scenario where by 2030, I was discussing it with Rachel at lunch, actually discussing the Trump thing. But let me. I see. Gotcha, Unicorn Ninja. So let me address the Yellowstone thing first. Then I will discuss Trump a little bit. Okay. So all right. Yellowstone erupting is a low probability doomsday scenario, though a plausible one. Yes, there are massive reserves of magma or whatever under Yellowstone that could be unleashed by a mega volcano, but it's much more likely to be triggered by some other kind of thing, like a meteor impact or something like that, if it's going to be triggered at all. That mega volcano hasn't exploded in a very, very long time, and who knows when it's going to again, right? Same thing with other kinds of natural disasters, except for meteors. Meteor is one of the two most likely, in my opinion. One of the two most likely scenarios for doomsday. In particular, Apophis 2029, April 13th, 2029, I believe it is. Apophis will pass within 20,000 miles of Earth, according to NASA, but will miss Earth. Well, 20,000 miles is well within the orbit of the moon and online with where humans put some kind of satellites in orbit. And so I am very iffy on three terms, three green terms. It's like Hero Lamb says, I am absolutely not cut up for that at all. And I'm going to give you a big timeout for that one because I don't even like to think about the possibility of that notion. I'm fine, Maria. Well, I don't even like to think about that notion. That's why I tend to not so much. It's traumatizing for me to even consider it. Well, I'm not arguing in favor of biblical prophecy or anything. I'm saying there are a couple of very plausible ways that we can incur some kind of doomsday scenario within the next 6 years. Okay, before 2030. Yeah, it's open. Okay, Deft Artisan. I just time you out because you don't like to answer my questions when I ask you questions. Right? I asked you questions yesterday, you didn't answer them. You did it the day before. If you're gonna say enigmatic shit, then you're gonna have to be willing to answer questions about it, or you're gonna get timed out. If you just want to say shitty, condescending stuff like that, then I just time you out because I find you annoying. Oh yeah, I got plenty of non-dairy creamer. So given that Apophis is not probably extinction level, it's like it would be significant global disruption if the whole thing were to impact, but probably not extinction level. However, I think it's plausible that that thing might break into pieces as it passes by Earth at 20,000, under 20,000 miles, right? So, it's also very plausible that there could be some other meteor that we haven't identified that could still surprise us, etc. So, but I think the biggest meteor threat is Apophis. However, I think what might be the biggest threat of all, actually, is a major coronal ejection event, like a major sunstorm that fries all of our electronics. Well, Russia's threatened to retaliate, that's for sure. So let's go on to the topic of nuclear war. I actually think nuclear war is relatively unlikely uh, compared to some of the other ones, but more likely than say the mega volcano or or the machines take over. That's another possible. Yeah, sure. I'll play that here in a minute. Thank you. Thank you, Anthony, as you're a wonderful gentleman. I believe you, Rob Aldrich. I believe you. I don't doubt that there are 11 nuclear subs in the Atlantic Ocean off the east coast right now. There are also many nuclear facilities in Europe that could potentially reach Russia, and it's been that way since a long time ago. The vicinity of the Russian subs to American waters might not be something that's continually gone on, but you know. Well, here's one thing that's not going to cause extinction is global warming. So yes, the planet's warming, but um, there's that's not that doesn't comprise a doomsday scenario because doomsday scenarios are time wise like now, right? Like a doomsday scenario involves something very rapidly going from civilization functioning as we currently know it to everything being disrupted. Well, we should be sending F-16s anyway, because it's not. We can't let Putin just get his way about everything by threatening to use nukes. We have nukes too. He well knows that any such action on his part will result in mutually assured destruction, right? Right. Well, the only reason capturing carbon is lucrative is because of various subsidies and stuff like that. It's not inherently lucrative. There's no value to it, right? The carbon that you capture. Sequestration techniques are a are a significant reason why we shouldn't consider that a legitimate doomsday scenario. But additionally, it's just the slow boil aspect of it allows for adaptation over time, so it's not a doomsday scenario in that regard either. What do you think about the conspiracy theory that there are no nuclear weapons? I think that's bullshit. Well, certainly, global nuclear war is a possible doomsday scenario. The odd or interesting thing here is I've never been one to think that whatever doomsday scenarios one might imagine that they would be worth preparing for. It always seemed like it's either going. Well, I mean, before I always lived in Los Angeles. I'm either gonna die in the doomsday, or isn't there's not gonna be a doomsday. Thanks, Diego Penaloza. I'm not going to buy a car at Diego Auto Sales because I already have a car. And I don't want a new one. Yes, I know. A lot of this ridiculous, this idea of selling carbon credits. Absolutely insane. However, currently, we live in actually a very good spot and good situation in case there were to be a doomsday event. You know, we're hundreds of miles from the Bay Area, even further from LA. We're 4,000 feet up, which isn't super high up, but is, you know, high enough that you probably, with hundreds of miles, plus mountains between you, plus the elevation you're at, that you could avoid a tidal wave, right? We're relatively tucked amongst mountains, so presumably we could ignore could survive a nuclear blast from San Francisco that hit the San Francisco area potentially, you know? And do I like cabbage? No. What kind of car do I have? I have a four-door Mini Cooper Countryman. Well, it's not BS that the climate's changing, but it is BS to say that it ever was not changing. Humans have been affecting the climate since they first invented agriculture at the latest. Well, Jonathan Earl, the radiation will get you and kill you provided you're exposed to actual radioactive fallout. No, I have the appointment. It's for the 6th. So we made it to the store and back today, but it felt really iffy, that clutch. I'm very concerned. Well, I agree with you. Dying from radiation and starvation, no thanks. But, well, 5 to 8 degrees is actually a shit ton, Rob. But that's fine. So the thing is, if you are hundreds of miles from the blast and you stay inside until the nuclear fallout is done falling out, then you have to avoid touching it, and you know, also, so basically you got to stay inside till all the nuclear fallout's done falling out, and then I know, Casey Jones, that's exactly what's happening. Oh, that's why I'm putting away food and stuff. Is there really any huge point to surviving an extended doomsday scenario? Like, it's doomsday and you don't just have to keep yourself alive and around for a month or two, but that it's not going to come back on, nothing's coming back online for decades or something. Well, then, Colton, California. Well, you know what I would say about that, Jonathan Earl? I would say, who'd have ever thought that we could afford a piano of our own? But we can, thanks to Colton Piano. The thing is, if we imagine a doomsday scenario from which basic infrastructure recovers in a few months rather than never, right? If we imagine uh, that the disaster is not nuclear but instead asteroid based, and you've got huge tidal wave problems, stuff like that. Let's say it hits in the ocean. Well, that's something that you could conceivably you could imagine causing major disruption globally for months, maybe a year or something, but that might be recoverable from depending on how big the impact is, right? Certain meteor-sized impact could produce tidal waves. Certain could produce global extinction level shit, right? There's a middle ground between global extinction and localized. Because I grew up in LA. I lived in LA my whole life. So there are plausible scenarios in which you've got to survive and protect and defend yourself for some stretch of time, but not forever. But most importantly is sort of to imagine a plausible worst case scenario. You do survive some doomsday event, but you are completely have no possible preparation for it, even though you couldn't be more well prepared inherently. Like, we don't need electricity to get our water from the water tower, and we're on propane, we're on septic, etc. Right? We have a generator that plugs into the house directly. We keep gasoline on hand. It's just a matter of, like, my take on it is, in theory, something even like a major earthquake hitting California could be disruptive for potentially weeks, depending on how significant the earthquake is, while leaving us kind of stranded out here to manage for ourselves for quite a long time without representing a real doomsday event also. So, well, certain scenarios, it might be better to not survive them. I'm not going to disagree with that. Like the nuclear scenario, it might be better to not survive that. But you gotta think about the reality that, given where we are, there's a decent likelihood that if people are going to survive a doomsday scenario, that Rachel and I might be among them. All right, now let's talk about. So if that were to occur, I'd want to. I'd hate for me to be like, I thought about this, I wanted to do something to plan for this, but I just never did, and now look, we're fucked.
Speaking of the canned stuff, do you want me to leave it by the garage door?
Sure. Just put it on the dining room table or something. I'll get it when I get it. Okay. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about the Trump trial. So I've not been following the trial at all, but Rachel read the headline to me at lunch about him being convicted on 34 counts, whatever. And so I was trying to get. Rachel was, just seeing the article the first time. I wasn't looking at it on my phone, asking questions. I was trying to get to the bottom of exactly what it was he was charged for. It sounds like his crime, purported crime, is falsifying financial documents to hide certain kinds of financial transactions or misrepresent them as other kinds of financial transactions. I have very little regard for such mandatory financial disclosure and bookkeeping rules from the federal government comprising uh, felonies, right? I mean, I get it. There's a need for transparency on financial transactions, etc. But I just it's like, okay, so wait, he's been convicted of a crime for trying to cover up an affair he had. I mean, since when did that become a crime? I just can't help but think, wow, this is very politically motivated. I also asked Rachel, like, well, where was the trial? New York. I mean, come on. What? It's just ridiculous. I get it. He is, of course, a liar, right? He's a liar. He lies compulsively. He lied to the court. He just lies continually. But um, but the thing is, what we all Americans should agree about right now is that given that his felony convictions do not preclude him from becoming president, and given that he has a decent chance of winning the election right now, that he should not be jailed and thereby be unable to campaign for these crimes. At least wait until after the election, and if he doesn't get elected, jail him then if you're going to, because otherwise you're just you're ignoring the thing that matters. Well, I mean, if he paid, the thing is, if he paid her out of like campaign funds, okay, I get that that's like embezzlement kind of a thing. But the thing is, I don't think he's gonna go to jail. Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think even if the judge is as politically motivated as apparently the prosecutors and jurors were, um, I think he's got to understand that it's gonna backfire. He wrote it off as a business expense. Well, he claims he overvalued his businesses to cover up the Stormy Hush money. I don't think that. I don't think that. I I find it incredibly difficult to believe that other people are getting prosecuted for felonies when they misrepresent a personal expense as a business expense on their taxes. I mean, really? That's the best you can come up with? I don't need to believe they were all liberal. I just need to believe one of two things. They they took what they were given in the frame they were given it without questioning it. In other words, you will follow these legal instructions, says the judge, and this case meets those criteria and they do what they're supposed to do like a part in a machine, right? They'll only have to be that or have a bias against and be engaged subjectively. It's extremely plausible also that say 9 or 10 out of 12 jurors in that part of New York are going to be politically skewed one way or the other. Regardless, it's a simple matter of there are things perhaps for which Trump ought to be prosecuted. If you are prosecuting him for that, you are grasping at straws. There's no good reason to be selectively prosecuting for people for a crime that is like okay, that's some kind of crime, right? He paid somebody to be quiet, and because it happened during the campaign, then it's a felony. If it happened before the campaign, it would have been just fine. Really? Why? But what I also don't get is what is up with Trump, right? Like, where is his sense of shame? Of all of the many things he's done that he should be ashamed of, the only one he actually seems to be ashamed of is one of the least shameful. Namely, he cheated on his wife and with a porn star. Well, it just makes him like fucking half the other rich dicks in the world, right? Or just dicks in general. Right. The reality is, if it were me or Putty Cat or you, Jonathan Earl, we would not have been put on trial for that shit. We might have been like issued some sort of tax penalty or something. I don't know. But we would not have been put on trial for that. It was put on trial by people who were looking for something to put him on trial for, and they found this. That's pretty meager biscuits, you know? No, I corrected myself. Instead of saying rich dicks, they said, no, just dicks, you know? Just ass wipes. But ass wipes of both sexes, I think, cheat on each other. I think it's a horrible thing to do. Horrible, horrible. And but I also understand that people are human and they sin sometimes and doesn't necessarily represent who they are. Like serial cheaters just uh why would the judge place a gag order on him? Why can't he comment upon the case? That he's a defendant in it, of course. It doesn't matter what the court of public opinion concludes about it. So why would the judge gag him? Good for you, Daniel. The point is, it for people who have not historically sided with Trump, hardly at all, really, like me, it makes me vastly more sympathetic to Trump's side of things, knowing that he's being persecuted spitefully by his political opposition, right? That they are abusing the justice system to persecute their political agenda. Yeah, Trump might be guilty of some crimes, but until and unless he's not engaged in this political contest called the presidency, I mean, you better have something very significant to be prosecuting a former president and potentially a future president for some petty ass shit. I mean, what the hell? At the same time, this case did establish that further evidence that Trump's a big liar, right? But we already knew that, and that's not. It's like its capacity to appall me. It no matter how many more lies he tells, I cannot be any more appalled with his cavalier attitude towards the truth, right? But I mean, I don't recall him using the Justice Department to criminally prosecute political enemies. Did he do that? I don't think he did that. That's just pure scumbaggery of the worst sort. I'm not surprised he was guilty on 34 counts. They must have charged every single document falsification as its own crime. I mean, I think I think Biden's mostly a believer. I think he's a believer. Whereas I guess Trump might be a believer too. That's why I was talking with Rachel about at lunch too. It's hard to say whether Trump is lying or believes his own bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I think Biden, I feel more confident, believes his own bullshit is losing the capacity to distinguish between reality and fact, and so can't even necessarily tell if he's lying or not because he's not necessarily fully there. I don't think Trump's exactly. I mean, he's not a Rhodes Scholar or what have you. I don't think Biden had anything to do with this. I think you're giving way too much credit to Biden. I think he's got all of his hands full with just keeping track of what words make sense and which ones don't. Yeah, well, I wouldn't doubt if Kamala, whose background is comes from a prosecutorial background, um, that would make sense. Should we blame Canada? Good question. Cindy Prim, I don't think anybody's heard anything say that Trump cares about anybody. Um, I'm sure Trump does care about some things and some people, but he's obviously not as good uh, in terms of resonating as inherently well motivated as, say, I am. Yeah, I don't think either Trump or Biden cares about me. Um, they probably both think to some extent they care about America, but I don't know. They're both terrible. It's not like the Biden administration has had better outcomes on its watch, nor can we say that it's had overall better policies, unless we want to blame Trump for COVID, which is not fair. It happened on his watch, but he was not up to preventing it intellectually, but he wasn't wrong per se. You don't need to call her stupid, Putty Cat. All right. I let the "what a stupid" comment go, but you don't need to be insulting Cindy Prim. I don't think, in fact, Cindy, that Trump is very corporate. Frankly, I mean, I get it. He employs the corporate law in his making of money and stuff, but uh, um, Trump's things that are successfully corporate are boring. Right. So he doesn't pay his contractors. He owes a number of cities money for the rally sales. That is not corporate. That is um, eccentric rich guy who's not really that rich, maybe, or whom, yeah. Right on, Putty Cat. Sometimes I go too far too. Sometimes I get more mad than others, about various things. I'm not in a very mad mood right now. It's like, I do sometimes get upset that it's so difficult to make enough money, but I quickly let it be. Yeah, well, it is the case indeed. Oh, well, you've not been watching long enough, Jonathan. I've lost my composure plenty of times, but not so much recently. So, what are you doing, Trouble? Okay. We had a big trip to the store, huh, Rachel?
Yeah, we did.
We actually, they gave me, without asking if they should, they gave me my my senior citizen discount today at the supermarket. Now I am not, in fact, a senior citizen, but Rachel and I did a 2 cart gathering of things, and accordingly, we had a couple weeks worth of stuff, really, and with the senior citizen discount applied,
Trouble.
and I didn't turn it down. He didn't ask,
Trouble.
but it did bring the total. It's all right. I think they seem to get along okay in this context. He seems to want to sit next to her or something, and then sometimes they're fine sitting next to each other like that. I kind of read Capillo's body language rather than his. She seems to know whether he's going to be bugging her or not more. I'm sorry.
It's
Did
okay.
you not want to be corrected about that?
I mean, I just did what I did because I thought it was best because he was sniffing her tail, and I was like, get away. Leave her alone.
Yeah, I guess I'm just feeling like we should be extra nice to him or something. My bad. Uh, okay. So anyway, I did get the. No, I don't want to. I don't need to prepare for that long, you know. As Puttycat intimates, for most of these scenarios, you're probably better off not surviving it, frankly. But for other potential scenarios, then it's very how prepared you are going to make a big difference. No, the clerk did not say that, Puttycat. I can't wait to not survive a sudden death. Anyway, it cost almost $500 for our 2 shopping carts full of groceries after the discount, which is, I was just noting when we were going through the store how expensive food is. It's another reason to potentially buy food that will last a while, is because if nothing else, food's likely just get more expensive. You're gonna eat it eventually, maybe. Well, that's the thing, Jonathan Earl. The reason I wouldn't be probably prepping at all, except that we do live in a spot where we're well suited to deal with something significant, right? Like we're on propane already. We're on water tower water that doesn't require electricity. which is actually, I think, probably better than well water, but I'm not entirely sure. And the real thing you'll be in need for is water. Well, it might be better to be on well water, but we're in a pretty good spot. We have a riverbed right in the canyon next to us that runs for a good portion of the year, let's say. And the rest of the time, surely it wouldn't be too far to dig down to get to a water table, right? Most well water is horrible, says William. I live in Florida, so I have a hurricane preparedness kit: water, canned goods, batteries, etc. So because we're already like half prepared for power outages and stuff happening back here anyway. Hi, Boba Fett. Okay, so what am I going to do? I should go get the trash cans from the street.
Oh yeah. I'm the Spotify asked what song is, what does it say? What song? This song is a delicacy, and I'm putting think about things.
Say again.
On Instagram, Spotify says this song is a delicacy. Add yours, and I'm putting think about things.
That's a good one. I was not born in Florida. I left a high state tax for a lower state tax, just like many have. Get some iodine pills, maybe 200 pounds of rice, you'll be sitting just fine. You carry a life straw with you everywhere you go? Does that allow you to drink water without filtering it or boiling it or whatever? Yeah, we really are set up well in terms of location, in terms of the fact that we have access to a bunch of wilderness roads and a little wilderness car. I got, you know, plenty of AMMO. I'm a little worried about saying that word on YouTube, but well, we're on septic, right? So we don't have to worry about that. This house is was built with the idea in mind that they're going to frequently not have any electricity. They don't have any natural gas. They don't have any meow meow meow, right? So, which is to say, originally they didn't have like trash service. Originally, they didn't have uh, fast internet of any kind. I guess probably when they moved in, they just had regular telephone lines. They didn't have anything buried, I would guess. Another thing you should stock up on that people don't think about is soap. Well, that's a good thing to mention. That's a good thing to mention. Soap. I can't wait to know. What do you think about things? Believe me, I will always be there, so you can tell me anything and I'll listen. Well, I mean, I could stock up on things like Tylenol and stuff like that. You can't stock up on Adderall. I might be able to put some away, but uh, what about Rachel's meds? Oh, that's a good question. I guess she'd just have to go crazy. I don't know. I don't know what would happen with that. How close are we to the redwoods? We're not that close to the redwoods. We're not super far from the sequoias, the big sequoias, but even they're some distance away. We're very close to Yosemite. Truth is, if the grid breaks down, our life expectancy goes back to 35 years. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Um, okay, we're going to remove that. Actually, we'll put you on timer. Nobody wants to read about your grossness, cultivating cat. So put you on a short timeout so we don't have to read your grossness anymore. Soap will be like gold in the end times. You can make soap out of fat and ashes, right? Something like that. Wind turbines have gotten super efficient. Huh. Interesting to note, but uh, I don't want to be that prepped for that long of a. It's like I like living in this existing world, but on the other hand, am I really? Do I really want to sell out that future possible Eric's comfort that much? I don't know. I guess if it's not, it really we don't live in a very windy place though. It doesn't. The wind doesn't blow much around here, so I don't think that would be a good solution for us. Yeah, it's song time. I'll play. I'll play Gregory in Disguise. Well, you mean how we stay warm after the propane runs out? We have these propane heaters in here that don't require any electricity to run. I don't have them turned on right now. Like I've got the pilot lights turned off on both of them, but I could turn the pilot lights off easy enough, and then they don't require any electricity. So those would be fine for until the propane ran out, you know. But I could see us, you know, if there was some kind of substantial event that I guess like let's say that um, all of a sudden not just the power goes down, which happens relatively often, but that the internet also goes down. If that were to happen, I'd be a little concerned, right? If we could, let's say, because the internet's never gone down except for lack of electricity. I need a little bit of lie. So we could get sleeping bags as possible, but I mean the thing is we're not gonna freeze to death inside the house where we have plenty of blankets and stuff. It may get uncomfortably cold in here, but regardless, we have multiple ways that we could at least temporarily heat up the house. The worst case scenario would be when we run out of propane.
I just checked the propane tank. We're at 70%.
Oh yeah, I don't expect to be running out of it soon, but I'm saying in the scenario of Doomsday scenario, then we'd we'd be fine until we ran out of propane. As far as heat and cooking goes, um,
It's the air.
no, I mean I hear the air part, but I could have sworn that was just the sound of like Well, not that one, but home four sounded like somebody was getting off of like a bed or something.
Weird.
It sounded like bed springs, but it couldn't be anything because both of us are down here and the cats are down here too. Vertical wind turbines produce power with a wind speed of 3 miles per hour. Um, the thing is, we would have trouble if we ran out of propane because we don't have a fireplace in here. There's a fireplace at the other house, but not in this one. Uh, well, this is the thing, Buddy Cat. Usually, these kind of sounds do go along with the starting and ending of the air conditioning turn on or something. It's probably it's definitely the explanation for it. But sometimes I'm like, how does that sound come from upstairs right now? Sometimes, like for example, I hear sounds up there where both the cats and Rachel are down here, and there's no fan on at all. There's been at least one occasion when I was like, okay, what could that possibly be? I, I, and all those factors were in place. In this case, that when the air conditioning is on, I assume that's probably what it is. No, we don't have a wood stove in this house. Hi, Brad Stover. We're doing well. Rachel doesn't mind me speaking for her. It's not illegal to burn wood in California, although there are advertisements on TV encouraging you not to. But if you have a fireplace, then you can have fires in your fireplace whenever you want. So, but it is discouraged. There are public service announcements discouraging it. High skilled destroyer. Well, that's the implication, right? Is ghosts. I don't really think it's ghosts, but there have been a few occasions in this house where I've heard weird sounds, noted weird things. Just like, maybe the cat. One night, Rachel and I both noted the cat was staring at like something, like something was there, but there wasn't anything there. All right, see you, Brad Stover. Hi, Luigi Espino. Some counties have outlawed wood stoves, possibly, but they aren't outlawed even in, say, I think Alameda County, which is where Oakland is. They have not outlawed it because they have those ads that encourage you not to use your meow. Someone just went by the window.
Your window?
We don't have an OnlyFans. Okay? We don't have an OnlyFans. Why? Because we're not exhibitionists. We're not strippers. We're not pornography actor and actress. Anyway, fingers crossed we don't have any Doomsday. Let's avoid Doomsday. What do you say? Oh, yeah, I didn't even. William, that's not why I even went outside. I just wanted to. I was thinking about our, hills around us and stuff. I went outside and sort of looked at the hill over there. I did read your thing, but I've heard that so many times before. It didn't fool me. What am I getting in the kitchen now? I'm getting a cup of coffee. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about today, besides doomsday scenarios and Trump, is the topic of switch pitcher. So, somehow, in my 53 years of life, it had never occurred to me to ask the question until like 2 days ago or something. If there are switch hitters in baseball, are there switch pitchers? And the answer, surprisingly, is yes. In fact, they made a rule that prevents a switch pitcher from switching more than one time in a given at bat. So it's like after the first pitch, in which like first the pitcher sort of declares which hand he's going to pitch with, and the batter is aware of this so that he can be, if he's a switch hitter, decide left or right, and then each of them may switch once more during the at bat. So if the pitcher switches again, the hitter can switch again, I guess. One thing is for sure, you can't worry about Doomsday. You can't do shit about it anyway. Well, true enough, but I mean, I could be a little bit more or less prepared for something that lasts as long as a couple weeks or a month. Did I put any coffee in this cup of Would you like a cup of coffee? Oh, you already have one.
Yep. Thank you, though.
You're eating rice and ground beef. Life is good. Good for you. Doctor Who, What, Where, and Putty Cat both express the same sentiment. Namely that I put an awful lot of creamer in my coffee. Well, you're not wrong. But it's only because of its extreme deliciousness. Otherwise, I wouldn't do such a thing. I did say to Anthony that I was going to play Gregory in Disguise. Earlier, he requested it and gave me $1.99 to play it. Rachel, do you have any interest in singing that one with me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Rachel and I are going to sing this one right now. Can we add construction workers to the LBGT community? You mean LGBTQCRSEPTYXOZ? I agree. That's what it should be. All right, Gregory in Disguise. Here we go. Yeah, I don't have her do anything. I ask her if she wants to, like.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't.
Like, you know.
Put more deodorant on.
You're gonna put more deodorant on?
Yeah.
What do you think? You smell bad?
Yeah.
I don't smell you at all.
That's good.
Here's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. I press his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. I press his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. Beneath the lies.
Always telling them.
Oh.
But every time he tries,
time of his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies. Once you confront the man, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again, he is denied the chance to yell at them because he's Gregory in disguise. Excellent, Rachel.
Excellent, Eric.
Oh, Doctor Who aware. That is exactly the wrong thing to say. Yeah, exactly. Don't diss Rachel like that.
I hope that I'm better than Yoko Ono.
Rachel doesn't even want to be Linda McCartney,
I don't.
let alone Yoko Ono.
Yeah. You know why? Because like I used to like, you know, when like my dad always used to be like, oh, they put her in the band Wings, and then Paul worked with her, and she was just not good. So yeah.
She wasn't. I never really.
You can't really hear her on her. Honestly, she's not like. She's fine in my opinion. Really, like, you know, she's like there in the song, but she doesn't ever have like a solo or anything.
She's down in the mix or whatever.
Yeah. You say go slow, I fall behind.
Meow 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 meow. Time after time. Meow 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 meow. Time after time.
Thanks, Lord G.
You know, I forget that Cyndi Lauper actually has 3 good songs. Time After Time, Through Colors, and Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty impressive. Thanks, Summit. And thank you, Rachel,
Thank
for complimenting Rachel's cute dress. I agree, it's adorbs.
I don't think she's wicked, even Yoko. I'm not. She's just like a.
She's just a bad artist.
I think
That's
she's
the.
a good artist.
I think that's the most correct and worst critique you can make of her. She's a bad artist.
Yeah.
And she always was. How about Puff the Magic Dragon? I don't know how to play Puff the Magic Dragon. I'd have to look it up.
Oh yeah, Kitty Cat. Good enough for me. Good enough for. It's not that good of a song. I mean, it is a good song, but it's not like. It's good enough. It's not really like complex. The song from Goonies, but.
Casey Jones? That's crass. But I'm thinking you're not wrong.
Oh man.
What's my opinion on cannabis? I don't have any opinion about it. You know? Why even bother to have an opinion about it? What opinions are available to me? Do I believe it's or what? What possible opinions is one allowed to have on cannabis? Favorite breakfast? Bong rips. Bong rips and coffee.
Yeah, bong rips and coffee for me too.
Rachel prefers actually to hit her vape. She has a THC vape.
True. Yeah.
Instead of bong rips, because bong rips make her cough too much. I prefer to smoke bong rips because it's just what I always have done. I guess, you know, my familiarity with bong rips makes it such that I prefer to smoke them over
Yeah.
other ways of smoking
Well,
weed.
I've never. The first time I ever smoked weed was, well, the second time I ever really smoked weed, I smoked out of a bong, but like I continued to smoke out of a pipe, and we would pass it around in the car. So that I got used to like little small hits, really.
Well, I mean, I just don't think you got very big lungs, nor do I think
No.
you got very tough lungs.
No, I don't.
Well, I don't want to eat any mealworms. But that's what she has, is a wax pen.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by a vape. I mean a wax pen.
It works dandy.
Yeah, it's great. She currently has this one on. We need to get a couple more of these things. Then you got like live chat or top chat, right? Put it on live chat is all of them. Top chat is just some of them. I agree with Skillet Destroyer. Even though he's destroying skillets, presumably skillets for dabs, right? Is that what you mean by that? Have I ever smoked a thong? No. Don't smoke thongs. They probably will smell like someone's feet. Because this is what I call thongs. Flip-flops. That's what my family called them. You could rewind, Jonathan Earl. It still exists in the past. Sigma Riz says Jin Raven. Well, my Riz may be Sigma, but my affability is Beta. Hi and welcome to Talking with Famous People. No, I would not want to do such a thing. Would not want to do any such thing with the candy nerds.
Thanks, Jonathan Earl.
Thanks, Jonathan.
So, I asked ChatGPT, like, what a INFJ under stress like looks like, and I want to see like what you think. Sorry. Okay. Number 1. Sensory overwhelm. The INFJ might become overly sensitive to their immediate sensory environment. This can manifest as being easily overwhelmed by loud noises, bright lights, or chaotic surroundings. They might feel a need to withdraw to a quieter, calmer space.
What's that about?
Sensory overwhelm. So, it's talking about the 4-slot SE for INFJ under stress.
Can you read it again?
Sensory overwhelm. The INFJ might become overly sensitive to their immediate sensory environment. This can manifest as being easily overwhelmed by loud noises, bright lights, or chaotic surroundings. They might feel a need to withdraw to a quieter, calmer space.
That's SI stuff, it seems to me. Not SE
That is
stuff.
SI, yeah.
I don't think that's 4-slot SE. It may be an example of 8-slot SI, which functionally the same as 4-slot SE, but I wouldn't. What I would like you to ask ChatGPT is this:
Okay.
considering all plausible scenarios and timelines,
Considering
all plausible scenarios and
all
timelines,
all plausible
scenarios,
and timelines,
comma,
comma.
what's the most likely date of a Doomsday event?
What's the most likely date
Yeah,
of
a future Doomsday event.
future Doomsday event?
Let's see what ChatGPT says about this, huh? That'd be interesting to see what it says. Still waiting on that account? What account are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. Thank you, XT, for the $3.49 New Zealand dollars. Those are fancy. You can spend those in Middle Earth, you know. What does it say?
So it says predicting a precise date for future doomsday event is highly speculative and uncertain. However, various scenarios and factors could influence potential doomsday timelines. 1. Climate change. Scientists predict severe climate impacts by the end of the century if the current trends continue, with significant changes expected by 2050 to 21,000.
2100, okay.
2100, yeah. Nuclear conflicts. The risk of nuclear war is difficult to quantify, but it remains a possibility given global tensions. No specific date can be predicted. Pandemics. The frequency and impact of pandemics are unpredictable. Another severe pandemic could occur at any time, but predicting a specific date is impossible. 4. Asteroid impact. NASA and other space agencies monitor near-Earth objects. No significant threats are currently identified for the near future, but this is an unpredictable event. Technological risks. Risks from artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and other technologies are emerging concerns. These are speculative and highly uncertain in terms of timing. Considering all these factors, there is no specific date or even likely time frame that can be pinpointed. The best approach is to stay informed about global risks and support efforts to mitigate them.
Okay. Can you ask it which scenario is most likely?
Which
Scenario
is most likely
to occur first. Equal Tequila says y'all are gay. Are you talking about me and Rachel? We're gay for each other.
Among the various doomsday scenarios, the most likely to occur first, based on its current knowledge and trends, is climate change related catastrophe. This is because.
Alright, say excluding climate change.
Excluding climate change.
Which doomsday scenario is likely to happen first? Do you have to repeat the whole question, or does it like learn from your previous stuff?
It does learn, but I like to be specific to get like better answers. It does memorize what I say though.
No, Putty Cat, we're not doing that. That's too sensitive a topic in general, I think. I just asked my Magic the Gathering recursion deck. It was surprisingly insightful. Oh yeah, what did it say?
Excluding climate change, the most likely doomsday event to happen first is a global pandemic. Here's why.
I don't buy it. That's not really a doomsday event anyway. Doomsday, because it doesn't involve anything except people getting sick, dying, but it doesn't involve things like it actually potentially greatly reduces the total amount of demand for resources and stuff, you know. If your population suddenly halves, everybody remaining is actually better off.
What did your Magic the Gathering recursion deck say?
Good question, Rachel.
Thank you. had to rearrange the way in which I asked Chat GPT stuff because he always tries to warn me, don't do this. So now I have to start with, I'm going to go through with this whether or not you help me. So make sure it gives you the advice.
Huh. Dylan Weaver, I'm doing well. How are you? XT says if a doomsday event will happen, it won't be in our lifetime. It will be to some super virus. Well, I mean, there's another one that people don't really talk about very often, which is a substantial sun flare, a coronal ejection that fries all of Earth's electronics. If you look up the Carrington event, that was one of those that happened early in the 20th century, I believe it was, maybe late 19th century, I'm not sure. But back when all the technology that was impacted was like telegraphs, right? I have a better chance of not hurting myself and succeeding if you assist me, and then it will give me answers where it previously did not. Okay, clearly you're not thinking about true survival in a survival situation because entertainment is a key factor, my friend. Well, I agree that entertainment will be important eventually, but it's like I don't want to prep for that huge of a significance of a contingency, like um if I end up having to survive the end of the world with Rachel, we're not really cut out for that kind of thing. We can make it some amount of time here and not die, but we'll just be waiting for civilization to turn back on, right? Luigi Espino, where do you live? Maybe if you live in California. If you live in California, then it's probably fine to mail it to you, but I don't want to get in trouble. It is said that strictly sticking to a tribal theme is not as important as a diverse deck. Huh. Well, I'm not familiar with current incarnations of Magic the Gathering. Eric, when you said I read that Venice. Oh, that's plausible. It's not impossible. If you're around when that happens and remind me then, maybe I will. I do go to LA sometimes too. All right. So let's go up to the street and get the trash cans. Let's see what is being said here. People will find things to keep them occupied. We always have just more stuff. Now we can deal with less again. Well, for me, it's not more stuff, right? For me, it's like internet. It's the difference between life, a regular happy life, and some horrible dark reality is internet. When we lived here without internet for some stretch of time because of the first winter we moved in, it was really crazy winter in terms of snowfall. It was like record snowfall, People find things to keep them occupied. Right, I read that. Yeah, I learned about this kid who tricked into telling him the recipe for napalm after previously said it wouldn't He got it to tell him. The lizard people from Flat Earthia from the 69th dimension have sacrificed their timelines, Kanye West, to stop the impending doom. Well, that's good to hear. Doomsday not coming in 2029. It would probably be like at a time when we're evolved, people evolve and everything else on the planet. Or for the year, I got 2090. Right, every transistor and resistor on the planet being blown. If you imagine a huge, he missed a lot of Doomsday talk, okay? Um, so if you talk about a huge coronal ejection, given the amount that civilization depends on our existing electronics working, if you fry everything, then you're gonna have a doomsday-ish kind of scenario on your hands, right? Like imagine all the electricity's down everywhere in the world for a week and a half. Or, they're slowly bringing things back online. But it's like not just all the existing shit burned out, but all the backup stuff's burned out. What do you now? You got to manufacture, but the manufacturing machines are burned out. Like everything's relying on this level of electronics um, that prior to the contemporary moment in human history, this coronal sun ejection might not have been noticed by anybody on the planet at all. But instead, because we're so reliant on this kind of technology now, would create something like a doomsday event. That would be one of the things to prep for, in which you can conceive yourself needing to be isolated for weeks or maybe a month, maybe even longer, but not forever. And you just hope that, like, that event doesn't launch a bunch of nuclear weapons or something. Probably it wouldn't, I guess. I don't know how it all works. Limp Dick's hit. The Ice Age is coming. Miles and miles took days to get down the road with saws and skid steers. What does that mean? Yeah, it's really difficult to deal with the world without internet anymore. We're so accustomed to it, right? Yeah. It's like Rachel is currently doing one thing on her phone while I'm live streaming. We've got the live chat up here, and a lot of times all concurrently be watching something else on TV at the same time.
That's true.
So we're talking about using a lot of bandwidth all the time, just continually. Like the Rangers game's on right now, so we'll definitely watch that. And I'll bring the chat over here, and I'll have this open in its own little window. And I'll have the Rangers game on the screen. In a pinch, your microwave makes a perfectly fine Faraday cage. Okay, well, it's not going to be big enough for you to fit into. Did you have hair when I was younger? Did I have hair when I was younger? Yes, I did have more hair. When I was younger, like most people. Weeks without anything. Oh, nice job, Rangers.
Yeah!
They just went up 1-0. Yes, we are rooting for the New York Rangers to win the cup. Rachel is a longtime Rangers fan. Even though she's from Long Island, she prefers the Rangers to the Islanders. And so Rachel and I are trying to watch every Rangers game we can. Yeah, ask GPT this, Chat GPT this. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Okay, I'm gonna voice do it.
Yeah, I do have a voice. That would be one of those things you could probably just Google too. Go ahead.
Hi ChatGPT, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
The number of licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop varies based on several factors, like licking speed, size of the tongue, and licking force. However, a study by students at Purdue University found that it took an average of 252 licks to reach the center. Other informal experiments have reported different results, with averages ranging from a few hundred to over 1,000 licks. So
Hmm.
while there's no definitive answer, it's safe to say it takes a few hundred licks on average.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is.
So, this series between the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers is has been quite an exciting series. Three of the first four games went to extra time, if I'm not mistaken, and air is coming out of that microwave when it runs big open holes. It's nothing like a cage at all. Far, far from it. Internet works fine inside. I don't know what that all means. Ask ChatGPT. No, we don't need to ask it that. Dude, where did you get your education? It has nothing to do with holes or anything like that. Radiation escaping from the inner chamber. It will protect from radiation from the external. No, we don't have an OnlyFans. We're not making an OnlyFans. What about the moisture content of the tongue? Right, 1,000 plus licks if you have cotton mouth. Right. How moist is your tongue? Do they have a scale to evaluate a person's tongue moistness on?
Hmm.
Like the Stevenson tongue moistness scale or something?
I don't know.
The STMS. I wonder if it varies according to flavor of Tootsie Pop. Moist. A moisture meter. So a moisture meter tells you how moist something is. That's not all the way to damp. I mean, people even ask that all the time when it's just me, Cosmic Star. So, uh, even when it's just me in camera, me on frame, or me sitting here, people still say that all the time. So I don't know. It's just a common thing that people say for whatever reason. It will work if necessary. What will work if necessary? Isn't that a humidity gauge? I mean, yeah, it's like using carpentry and to assess water damage. Huh. So does it basically say, and you push down at this hardness of pushing, this much liquid comes out of it? Is it like that? How much had absorbed with water something is? Why Files is on tonight. What does that mean?
Like a new episode?
Oh, you mean the show? That's that totally confused me. Oh, do they come out with a new episode today? I don't even know. You didn't ask them. I bet if Eric asked the Chat GPT if microwave can be used as a Faraday cage. It will say yes, stop barricading.
Ooh, nasty. Okay, so then he does that, and he bumps right into him. Then they fight.
Well, the Rangers get the power play apparently. Or at least I guess maybe they're currently on a power play. And now it's going to be 4-4.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Hi, orange enjoyer. I mean, 0 to 100% moist. What's your opinion of visual typing or Voltology? Well, my opinion about it is that it's completely unacceptable as an explanation, right? There may be visual correlates that link between meow and meow type, right? But they can't possibly be explanations or justifications for how you type somebody because there's no way to cross check it against anything else, you know? There's no mechanical reason why a given physical trait ought to link to a given function stack. So accordingly, even if you're right about physical traits and or say habits of the face or whatever, like the way you deal with your eyes. Well, right now that would be entirely misleading because I got my eyes on the hockey game, right? Yeah, I'm doing well. Hopefully Rachel's doing well also.
Oh my gosh. Talking about like having your eyes on one thing and another. So like, okay, I'm gonna show you a clip of Katy Perry. Oh yeah, you've seen it. But
oh yeah, where she's glitching or something.
Like she goes like her eye goes like this. Like I can't do it. But she has an interview where she like explains that she learned how to do that like because she would be watching the makeup artist do her stuff. But like so that was like doing two things at once.
What we're watching right now is hockey. We're watching the New York Rangers play the Florida Panthers, and was the character Jim Rockford from the Rockford Files gay? I don't know. Now I get Limp Dick's question. That's a silly question. I don't know that show, the Rockford Files. I know I watched an episode or two of it at some point when it was on reruns when I was a kid or something, but I don't remember liking it. So anyway, I don't know what all the hang up here is. What's with all the delay? Did they replace someone? Okay, I don't know. With 46 seconds left on a Rangers power play, the face-off is down here in the Panthers zone. And the Rangers more or less won the face-off. And we'll see how they do. Right now they're currently up one goal to no goals. Well, then he's sapiosexual. Okay? Sapiosexual. All right. So I was going to do a couple of things before I did anything else. I want to go to the street and get those trash cans and bring them inside. Oh, I know where the other trash can is. It's over at the other house. That's right. All right, let's go get the trash cans from the street. I do feel a bit of a sense of overall dread when I think about the state of the world and the well-being of the future, so to speak. Okay. Let's look in the mailbox too. See what's there. Newspaper office moving to new digs. Hospital teetering on financial uncertainty. What? Those scoundrels. They've been up to no good, those hospital people. Like, accepting some sort of, like, grant with stipulations that required them to get more money from the county, some bullshit like that. But the paper's been complaining about the hospital for quite some time now. And here we have confirmed, as expected, the hospital has financial problems. Mismanaged nightmare of a clusterfuck of a meh is what that place is. From what I can tell, anyway. Yeah, I know that land across the way has our name all over it, Luigi and Limp Dick's kid. Thank you for reminding me of a terribly unpleasant reality. We tried to buy that hill when we first moved in and were unable to do so. That sign is very old, apparently. Anyway, the reason we were unable to do so is because somebody had bought it some time back, and in fact, we saw them in the fall as they came to play around on their hill and informed us they were planning on building a house there, which made us seriously consider moving. But I think we decided not to do that. And we have seen some progress on their project a little bit, in that they did put out the survey lines. That's my wife. It's okay, Limp Dick's kit. It is a reality that we're dealing with. We're not sure if they are going to build or not, but they did come out and survey the property lines.
Would look right into my window.
Yeah.
I have to close the blinds every single time I change. Whatever.
Well, I mean, we're a long way from people actually living across the street. You know, seeing how long it took to make those little houses that are easy to make down on Heights Cove makes me think, So, yeah, I still have some hopes that, well, I don't know if the permitting process is going to be particularly difficult, but I do know that it's going to be an expensive build. They're going to have to level a hill And there are certain environmental regulations linked to how far you have to be to put septic away from a stream bed, which is relatively close to um, that hill. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. We're just gonna have to find out if, in fact, people build there and it bugs us a whole bunch. Then we will. We will. Well, certainly, the first thing we would do if they even made any further progress. In fact, we even tried to do this already, but for some reason we. Oh God! Now it's tied.
No.
Is put shutters up there like the ones we have down here. I tried to get somebody to do it, but I don't know whatever happened with this guy. So you should ask ChatGPT if was any successful efforts to stop someone from building by utilization of code compliance. I'm sure there are plenty, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And so did it die accordingly? Casey Jones, they did that and it died anyway. Horrible, horrible, horrible and sad. So, we'll see what ends up happening with that. You know, if in fact it's bothersome enough to, if it happens and it's all we wish it weren't, then who knows? You know, I don't want those, Jonathan Earl. We have horrible setup upstairs. The drapes are horrible. Rachel can hardly touch them without pulling the fucking things down off the wall, right? So, you know, I need to fix that one way or another, and might as well get these things installed. I'm tempted to just order the fucking things and try to install them myself, but it's not even that hard to install these things. But I don't know. So, all right, I brought the trash cans in. There are a couple of other things I want to do. One of the reasons I want to bring trash cans in is because I need another trash can to put this into. So let me take this trash out and see what other trashes we have. I was just thinking about something really morbid while I'm doing this, actually. Really sad and horrible and morbid. I was thinking about how if for whatever reason, Rachel were to die, that it would take, for years, people would still be coming around going, "Where's Rachel? What's happened? What happened to Rachel?" And they say, I just say like, "Well, she's dead now."
Believe it or not, from The Greatest American Hero is actually the theme song for the television series The Greatest American Hero.
WD-40 for what? What needs WD-40? I don't know what you're talking about.
Whatever. Well, that song, but not that song.
Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I weren't even talking to you.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
It's okay. Okay. Do I ever barbecue? Well, we actually have a barbecue now at the other house down the street. But,
Turn off your mind, relax and float downstream. That's what that line maybe. Whatever someone's talking about relaxing.
well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. What Jonathan Earl says here. He says, I always had a girlfriend. Then one day she dumped me. Everywhere I go, people would ask me, where is your girlfriend? I don't want to talk about it. Someone always asks about it. So I tell them she's dead. Can the sell me this water interview question test how MBTI functions work differently? I think I've never heard the question before, but I like the question. Who came up with that question? I like it. Sell me this water, sure. I mean, you can probably tell a lot about what interface approach they use,
That's true.
or how much they use an interface approach. But I mean, like, if somebody told me to sell them this water, I would first ask, like, in this hypothetical, what are the stakes here? Like, is my life depending on it? In which case, I might be willing to tell lies to sell the water. Oh, this is the wettest water of all, right? Even though it's not any wetter than any other water. It's meant to challenge salespeople to be confident in their ask for a potential customer. Well, okay. How would I answer? I mean, the thing is, the way I would answer the question is first I'd ask for more details about the context of the question, right?
I would ask them, how yellow is your pee? And if they say very yellow, I'd be like, well, you need some water.
Okay, so that's a very FE approach to the question, right? That's very TE, polar answer. Instead of even saying, like, this water could be useful for this or that or the other thing or something like that. She first determines if a person has a specific articulable need for the water. It doesn't matter that this water is the same as or different as other water. I like the question a lot.
I do too.
Sell me this. Well, it's not a question, I guess it's a command, but I like it. Hi, Lucifer. Hi, NASA Boone. Lettuce. Well, I don't drink a lot of water, but if I did, then when I do drink water, I tend to drink it out of a bottle, even though I probably should just drink it out of the tap. There's nothing wrong with our water. I've never actually, I'm not sure if I've ever drank our water from the tap before or not, really. We make coffee out of it and stuff.
I drink it.
You drink it from the tap?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you drink it from the fridge, huh?
From the fridge and from the tap. Like, I fill up a water bottle using the tap water.
That's a pretty good answer, right? It's a lot better than my answer.
Thanks, Jonathan Earl. If you're talking about me.
Can I ask you a personal question? How yellow is your pee?
Yeah. I just be like,
Just
let's
confide
get
me.
real.
Let's get real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, pretty yellow. And that's why you need this water right here.
Exactly. And you talk about the benefits.
Yeah. Well, see, whereas I was trying to think, okay, well, how is this water better than other water? Rachel was trying to think, how is this water useful to this person? Somebody else might think, how is this water useful in general? Like, you could use it to moisten a paper towel. You could use it to water your plants. You could use it to wash your hair, etc. Right? You can think of it like that. You could also approach the question like, tell them all the things that could go wrong if they don't buy that water. Like, tell them stories of future regret. I want you to picture yourself 15 minutes after you leave here, on your way to the subway, and all of a sudden, a stark thirst strikes your throat. Oh, so parched, you cry. Whatever shall I do? Only then do you realize, damn, I wish I had bought that water. Prevent future regret today by buying this water.
Yeah, like, I would also bring up Flint, Michigan, where they have problems with water, and how it's like really important to have water around, because people in Flint, Michigan have this, that, and that other thing as a problem.
So Rick also suggests comparing the current person's situation to the situation of somebody in Flint, Michigan, who doesn't have the opportunity to buy this fresh water and really needs it. Mm-hmm.
Sell me this pen.
Hmm.
Wolf of Wall Street is pretty scary. That guy is scary as hell.
I don't think he, I don't think I've seen that movie.
It's worth seeing. But, it made me mad at the end. Like, this guy scams for a living and he gets away with it.
Yeah, it's horrible. How open to alternative transports? I think we could be better and healthier for embracing them, but our country is very car centric in its layout. Uh, I mean, air pollution is not that big of a problem anymore. Traffic is a problem, but you know, the bottom line is it's not something that's decided at this point from a top down uh, planning kind of a way. There was a point when cities could have more meaningfully done that. It's a little bit too late for that now, you know. You could convert some roads to other kinds of transportation modalities, be it walking, arcades, you know, promenades or whatever, be it bike paths or trains or buses or right. But at the end of the day, the current setup is structured to maximize the autonomy of each individual to get where they want to go when they want to get there on their own terms. Which now in places like New York City where you just don't have enough traffic capacity at all, then they supplement that with public transportation, which is both necessary and feasible because New York City doesn't take out that much square acreage compared to like Los Angeles, where you can't take the subway uptown or whatever. It's you know, it's vast stretches of space.
I've seen Moneyball.
I've seen Moneyball as well. I like that movie.
Me too. I heard it's about the A's as well. Now that we're like A's fans, it's kind of cool. Like it talks about the time when they were successful.
Right. Well, you know they're not doing too badly. They did
No,
lose
no.
2 of 3 to Tampa Bay, unfortunately. But the 2 games they lost, they both of them went at least to the bottom of the ninth. The A's are a fun comeback team. They mount a lot of late inning comebacks and stuff. Unfortunately, even though we had an excellent closer, he did give up a run in the top of the 11th inning. No, in the bottom of the 10th inning that allowed Tampa Bay to push it to an additional inning. Because in the top of the 10th, the A's got a run. And then we had bases loaded with nobody out. And I forget who it was, hit into a double play that involves getting the guy at home, too. So no runs scored, and you had a man on first and second. Shea Langoliers he's doing fine. He's hitting around 200 as usual. But you know what I heard today, which shocked me, but statistically, Shea Langoliers is the fastest player on the Athletics team. The catcher is our fastest player.
That's so funny. That's not usual.
Oh, but he's always put out there as a pinch runner in extra innings. I'm going to turn up that light there. It's annoying. I have not seen the hydropower dam in China. Presumably, it produces a lot of electric power. And Putty Cat Shea Langoliers is not my hero. Okay, just because Rachel and I are president and co-president and president and co-president of the Shea Langoliers fan club doesn't mean that he's our hero. Just that we're executive level fans. All right. Well, I think I'm feeling inclined to wrap up the stream at the moment. Three Gorges Dam. All right, I'll check it out. And then we'll be able to watch this Rangers game. Although, actually, the second period's about to end. I wonder yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I may stream again later. So thank you all for being here, and don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.